what it is, home biz, home slice, make it twice. I'm looking like I need those. Okay, anyway, sorry, brain's just all over the place today. Lots of information overload. So people have asked me, what do I do if I think that there's something fraudulent going on? They've ignored my rights. I got ran over. Well, that might fall underneath the guise of fraud on the court or fraud upon the court. What is it? Let's take a gander. All right. Fraud on the court or fraud upon the court is where the material misrepresentation has been made to the court. They have somebody has presented, whether it's the DA, prosecution, the judge, whoever, whatever, has brought material that is fraudulent or fake or not accurate to the court to try to use against you. Or by the court itself. Has the court committed fraud by not performing something that they were supposed to do? Or they did it, but it was misrepresented. Or even the judge, depending on his oath of office, if he signed it right, or the cop themselves, something in there. If there's any fraud in there whatsoever, it vitiates that person or the situation, or cancels it, destroys it. Because even with a contract could be 20 years old. At any point in time, if the day one you signed it, which is like most of our housing agreements, fraud, we'll get into that later, is a speck of it. If it's fraud, it was never good to begin with. It vitiates the whole agreement. So I don't care if you're saying, well, you can't do that, and that only applies within the first 3 years, like a house agreement for that particular aspect. No, fraud at any point in time in the deal makes the whole deal null and void. Period. That is stated all across through all facts of everything. Think of it this way. Sorry to how the brain works. So sorry, not sorry. If the contract or agreement started off with a speck of fraud, that means fraud is carried out through the whole thing, and it's bad. It can't still be made good. You can't write it unless you literally understand that fraud was done, and then you agree, yeah, it's okay, go ahead, you can still keep me locked in this contract for 20 years, and I'll pay all this interest and whatever else. Unless you agree to that in a separate new agreement, that agreement's done. So if you can find fraud in the court, or fraud with your house, or fraud in your loan, or your contract, or whatever, it is done, son. That is it. So, okay. The main requirement is that the impartiality of the court has been so disrupted that it can't perform its tasks without bias or prejudice. Can you find that the cop is prejudiced? Can you go back through, pull his records? Was he ever convicted or prosecuted, or too many claims or reports or filings of misconduct that he was racist? If that keeps popping up, you can use that. Same thing with the judge. Are they biased? Do they have stock in the courthouse? Do they have stock in the outcome? Do they have stock in the people who make the handcuffs? Any of that is a bias. They have to be 100% squeaky clean. And we all know ain't nobody ready to throw no rocks at no glass houses, because ain't nobody clean. Ain't nobody. There's always something. You just have to know where to look, where to apply pressure, and use it. Okay, let's go on and see what else we have in the box here. So at this point in time, you've Googled fraud upon the court or fraud on the court, and you're going to get some results like this on Google, which will give you things like how to invalidate a judgment for fraud. Gives you a PDF. My first search result. This is how you do it. You want to get your case thrown out? Here's one of the ways. Invalidate it. Talks about in the United States District Court. Okay. So looking up that term is going to give you these results. These results are going to be your study material if you have an upcoming case. Utilizing these cases are what's going to help you in yours. Now, yes, I do provide a file that has some of this information in it and a lot of better tips and tricks that they don't really want to see coming their way. So they're both tools. Can you use either one to win the day? Yes. Uh, Mine has a lot of the footwork already done, and so these are going to be the hard-hitting issues. So, but this is also where I get information to be able to put into my files. So, at the end of the day, if you want to take the time, you can read through these cases, find out what has worked. It's a lot of reading, which I have already done, which is why I know so much about this stuff. Which is why they don't like to see me coming or seeing me sending these letters because I already know I've already gone through the cases and found the pieces out of all of them that has worked and has won and put those in these things. So either way, you can do the footwork or you can just pay to have it done for you. Doesn't really matter to me. I'm just letting you know both is always a good thing. Okay? Because this way at least you can see how things go. You can see what was said in there. Mine are just telling you this is what you need to say, but these things will show you what has led up to there and how to handle yourself through the soft points, if you will. Both are good. Utilize all tools you can. So as we go down, there's going to be how to file this complaint against them, who to file it with, where, whatnot. And then at the bottom, as your related search results, you're going to have things to also look up like what are the limitations? Because some of the things you might be trying to do have limitations. There's statutes of limitations on some of these things. Some there aren't. Then also you're going to look at things specific for your state, because you might be in a republic state, you might be in a commonwealth, you might be in Washington D.C., which is a territory, trying to become a state for some reason, and things of that nature. So not a terribly long video, guys, but just for those people who were like, yeah, I think I got frauded on this or whatever else. Well, it starts with looking it up. Fraud upon the court. Maybe this will help you, maybe not. But the more you know, some people out there didn't even know that what they experienced was fraud. You know what I mean? Like what happened was fraud. Look it up. What determines fraud upon the court? Look that up. Because maybe they frauded you. I know they fraud. You got frauded and defrauded and frauded again. Those frauds. So, but remember, in their jurisdiction, I kind of explained this on one of my consultations yesterday. I think it was with Keith or somebody. Anyway, it's kind of like this. If you come over to my house and you don't bring, say, a food item to the barbecue or whatever, and our backyard justice, you didn't bring a drink item, you didn't bring a food item, that's messed up. Unless you call me ahead of time and say, hey, man, I ain't got anything. Yeah, come on through, bro, it's cool. But in general, everybody brings something. That's how we get down. That is law here. Okay? May not be at your house. Oh, it doesn't matter. It's not just whatever. If people bring it, that's cool. But at my house, that's law. So here it would be lawful, but in their system, or maybe your house, it's not. It's illegal. Okay? So what you guys do at your house, so the system is like this. What they do in the court amongst themselves is legal. Doesn't mean it's lawful. Law is the American de jure republic, okay, under the Constitution. These are our laws. These foreign private courts can do certain things, rules and statutes, but if you read the law says that whatever they do there, if it infringes upon or defers or differs or removes the rights of somebody who's a de jure American, then that means in their system it is null and void. But if you don't know how to declare that, identify it, and then bust their butts on it, then it passes in the night. Your rights just got trafficked. You might as well just be like, what was that? Because that is what they just did to you. If you don't know, because knowing is half the battle. Thanks, G.I. Joe. Or was it Spider-Man? One of the two. So that's it, guys. Know what's going on. Try to be aware. I'm not saying you guys have to be professors at this, but learn a little bit so that you at least kind of have an idea of what's going on. Otherwise, you're going to get walked on. Okay? That's about it. Take care. Talk to you later.